Swaminidhi Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Prajarine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we are in 5.7 now, right? So here, what is Krishna saying? Let's see. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijidatma jitendriyaha sarva bhutatma kurvan apina lipyate. One who works in devotion, who is a pure soul and who controls his mind and senses is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. So one who works in Krishna consciousness is servant to all and he's very dear to all. So somebody is in Krishna consciousness, he can control his mind and senses. Now, can someone give an example from the Shastra? I'll just have a brainstorming session. Like somebody who have done Krishna conscious activities and who have so much control in his mind and senses. Who's that? Prahlad Maharaj, very good. He never got agitated, even if his father tortured him so much. Who else?
Haridas Thakur.
Very good. Haridas Thakur is a very classical example where even the middle of the night, the prostitute came and also Maya Devi herself came. And you know what? The Maya Devi took initiation from Haridas Thakur. Oh, the internal potency, external potency, Durga Devi or Maya Devi came to test Haridas Thakur. So, but on the extreme, what is the example of a yogi who got disturbed, who was not doing the Krishna consciousness, but great yogi, but got disturbed by his mind and senses? Who's that? Vishwamitra.
Ajamila, we can give the...
Ajamila, yes. Ajamila got disturbed, fine. But he was not a yogi. He was a devotee itself. But then in the middle, he got disturbed. Vishwamitra, Samir Prabhu says Vishwamitra is a classical example. Great yogi and got disturbed by Ramba, Menaka and all, Urvashi and all. And who else? Saubhari Rishi. Okay, Saubhari Rishi also. And also Durvasa Muni, when testing Ambarish Maharaj. They are all Siddhas, great yogis. Durvasa Muni could even go to Vaikunta to meet Lord Vishnu, but still what happened? He got agitated by his senses. But on the other hand, a Krishna conscious devotee like Prahlad Maharaj or Haridas Thakur, how they could control their mind and senses. So mind is always should be fixed on Krishna. There is no chance of his being deviated from Krishna. If the mind is Save Mana Krishna Padara, as Ambarish Maharaj did, if a mind is completely fixed on Krishna, then they can't deviate. But the moment we get deviated from Krishna, the Maya captures. Krishna Buliya Jeev Bhogavanja Kare Pashatiya Maya Tare Japatiya Tare. The moment we forget Krishna and we turn Krishna Buli Jeev Bahirmuga. So we are, Krishna is here and we are turning our face this side. Then what happens? Maya will capture us. Naiva kinchit karomi ti yukto manyeta tattvavit pashyan shrinvan sprishan gihran asat gachan swapan swashan pralapan vishrajan grihnan unmishan nimishan api indriyarteshu vartata ididharayan. A person in divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that the only material senses are engaged with the objects and that is aloof from them. So Prahlad was a classical example for this. In the purport, Prabhupada writes, Prahlad didn't even care how the other bodily things are going on, how he's taking bath, having food. He's not bothered. He was completely fixed on the Lord. So in Krishna consciousness, the senses are engaged in the satisfaction of Krishna senses. That is called Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. So Rishikesha is Krishna, the master of sense, and our senses are involved in serving the master of sense. So this is what we should do. We should engage our sense in serving the Krishna senses. So that is Krishnendriya Triptivanja Tarana Prem. So then that's called love or prem, when we try to satisfy Krishna senses. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, it says, Sarvopadi vinirmuktam paratvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchyate. So these are some of the slokas you need to memorize in NOD when we start Nectar of Devotion. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. After we finish Bhagavad Gita, these are some of the slokas for memorization in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. A great sloka to preach. What is it saying? Rishikena Rishikesha Sevana. When we engage our senses to serve the master of senses, two things will happen. Sarva Upati Vinirmuktam. All your material designations goes away, and Tat Paratvena Nirma. Your senses become purified. So Bhakti or devotional service means engaging our senses in the service of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the master of all senses. When the spirit soul renders service to the Supreme, there are two side effects. One is we become free from all material designation, and the other is the senses become purified simply by being employed in the service of the Lord. Right? So these two things will happen. Brahmani adhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karotiya lippetena sapapena padma patram ivambasha. Padma patram ivambasha. That means how a lotus leaf is not attached to the water in it. Like the water droplets are seen, but when you take the lotus leaf, it doesn't have any water attached. So that's how detached one should work. So one should perform his duty without attachment, surrendering the results to the Supreme Lord. He is unaffected by sinful action as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. That means everything belongs to Krishna. Ishavasyanidam sarvam, right? Or it is, thus everything belongs to him, or everything is related to Krishna. So how is it yours? Can someone give us a nice example for this? Patma patram ivambasha. What else? What other examples do you know? How we should be aloof, or we should not be attached, or we have to perform our duty. Like what about a cashier in the bank? Yes, Prajesh Pro, which example you know?
Hare Krishna Mataji, the same one Mataji, cashier in a bank.
Huh.
His job is to like count the money that's there in the bank, but he does not even like own even a single rupee of that
Yeah,
money.
so at the end of the day, it belongs to the bank and it doesn't belong to him, right? So that is one thing, cashier in the bank. And what about a dry coconut? A dry coconut is it's separated from its shell. It's not attached to the shell. When it is raw, the coconut has to be grated from the shell. So this is how we should be untouched by. But these are all great stages like a pure devotee can do. But for us, there are little attachments. But as we do devotion service, the attachment goes away because everything belongs to Krishna. This is Ishopanishad Sloka 1. Ishavasyanidam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagattena tektena bhunjita magrihan kashyasvidhanam. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. So, Ishavasyanidam sarvam. Everything belongs to Krishna, and it has to be used in his service because it's belong to Krishna. And whatever is your share, we can use it, but not into not others. Kayena manasa bhudya kevalai indriyar api yogina karma kurvanti sangam tyaktvatva sushuddhaye. The yogis abandoning attachment act with body, mind, intelligence, and even with senses only for the purpose of purifications. Okay, so our body, mind, and intelligence has to be surrendered to Krishna, and the yogis, they do that for purification purpose. That means there is no material reaction resulting from the activities of a Krishna conscious person, because he's doing our karma, he's doing it for Krishna. Like how Arjuna fought. Does Arjuna incur sin? No, because he's doing it for Krishna. Before, in chapter 1, he was thinking about his self. The example which Prabhu gave, the cashier. If the cashier steals money from which he counts, then he is punishable. Like a soldier kills his neighbors is punishable, right? But then when he is in the military field and he kills a terrorist, he's given Kirti Chakra, right? Why? Because that's his duty or dharma. Similarly, Arjuna was as a Kshatriya in the battlefield, and for Krishna he was fighting. So there is no reaction coming. It applies everything produced of the body, mind, and intelligence, words, life, wealth, etc., whatever he have with his possession, to Krishna's service. So this is called Yukta Vairagya. Last time we discussed how we should use everything in Krishna's service. So this is called Yukta Vairagya. Anasaktasya vishaya yadarham upayunjata nirbande Krishna sambande Yukta Vairagya muchyate. This is also another sloka from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. You won't find these slokas in our Nectar of Devotion book, because this is just a synopsis which Prabhupada wrote, and Prabhupada knows that this is enough for us. We don't have to go cross over Prabhupada and go and see. But then some of these slokas will be available in the PDF, the original Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami. And these slokas, some of it can be used for preaching. But in that book, you won't find any slokas. So everything should be Krishna Nirbande, Krishna Sambande. Everything should be used in Krishna service. Yukta karma phalam tyaktva shanti mapnodi naishtikim ayukta kamakarena phale sakto nibhadyate. The steadily devoted soul attains unadulterated peace because he offers the result of all activities to me, whereas a person who's not in the union with the divine, who's greedy for the fruits of his labor, become entangled. So a person who's attached to Krishna works for him. Only is certainly a liberated person. Activities in Krishna consciousness is in the absolute plane, right? But if we are greedy for the fruits of our labor, we become entangled, right? If we give our results. So what is this called? Offering the result of activities to Krishna. What is it called? Put in the chat. Offering the results of activities to Krishna. What is that called? Offering the result. Yes, Nishkama Karma Yoga. Very good. So Nishkama Karma, right? So better than that is Akarma. Sarva Karmani Manasa Sanyasaste Sukham Vasi Navadware Puri Dehi Naiva Kurmanna Karayan. When the embodied living being controls his nature and mentally renounces all actions, he resides happily in the city of 9 gates, the material body, neither working nor causing work to be done. So here it is said, the 9 gates in our body, that is the 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, 1 mouth, 1 genitals and rectum. So through that, the soul leaves the body. So just sometimes they give bath to the body after death, then they see some blood stains over the mouth or through the ear or something. So that means the soul left the body through that. Okay. Yeah. So one question I like to discuss, Prajesh Prabhu, you also find the answer for this in CM Medico. So what happens? You've heard of IVF, no? In vitro fertilization. So the ovum is taken from the mother and the female, and sperm is taken from the man, and artificially they fertilize. So unless there is a soul in it, there is no embryo forming. There is no life, right? So the embryo is formed. Now the soul is there, the embryo is there. Now, instead of transplanting it into the womb of the mother, they freeze the embryo. Did anyone hear about that? Freezing the embryo. They freeze it for like 6 months to 1 year or something. And when the parents are ready, or they take a surrogate mother and implant the embryo in it. Now, how is the soul getting freezed? Is Prajesh Prabhu? Any idea? Or anybody has an idea how this
No,
happens?
Mataji, I'm not sure.
You just find out the answer, okay?
Okay.
Yes, Kripa Mataji, you know about it?
Mataji, is it possible that the soul is not there at that time in it?
The soul is there. Why? Because when they freeze it, after 6 months, if they are freezing for 6 months, after 6 months, they take that embryo and directly implant in the uterus of the woman, and she's pregnant. I mean, there is a heartbeat activity happens, and everything can be detected. So that means there is soul. But how is there free? Yes, Rajat Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
We can't freeze the soul, like the soul can't be cut, it can't be burned and
Yeah.
everything. Whatever human activity we do, we can't do anything to the soul. So soul will, if it is there, it will continue to reside in it. And it is also dependent on the karma of the soul, whether it will, once it goes into the womb of the mother, whether it will, progress or not.
No, yes, Prabhu. So as you said, we can't freeze the soul and everything, but the soul is there, you said. But how, if the soul is there, there should be growth, no? But there is no growth for that embryo.
No, Mataji, that's why I'm saying it is linked to the karma also, na, Mataji, because this is happening by unnatural method that we are doing it. So
Yes.
based on the karma only, all the how the progress is taking place will take place.
But how can for 6 months the soul stay somewhere without work, without growth? That's my question.
Mataji, soul doesn't grow, na, Mataji. It is only the
No,
bodily
the body
thing
at least to grow. Yeah, the
Mataji.
presence of soul means Krishna's, Prabhupada says, if there is a soul in something, it has to grow. It can't stay stagnant. It has to grow. So growth is a symptom of presence of soul. A dead body can't grow. So that's what is confusing, na? Okay, whatever you told is right. Yes, it's because of karma, because of some sinful activities in the previous janma, that the soul has been in such a difficult situation. That's a difficult situation, actually. And they are artificially doing it, as you said, in some unnatural method, they're doing it. But how, if they can't freeze the soul, then what is happening in that embryo for 6 months? No, that's what. So anyway, you find all of you just think about it, and then let's discuss after that. Okay. Okay. So now speaking about the three doers. Okay, detachment from material. So who are the three doers in our in life? Who are the three doers? Are we the only doer, or are they someone else involved? Yes. If some karma has to happen, is it only the soul who is involved, or is there any other factors who's involved? Yes, Prabhu.
Mataji, the Prakriti and the super soul is also there.
Very good.
Because
Yes. So what is their role? What is the soul doing? What is super soul doing, and the Prakriti doing?
Mataji's soul desires.
Good. Soul
super
desires.
Sanctions.
Super soul
and
sanctions.
The Prakriti provides the sanctioning of the Lord.
Very good. Yes. So the material nature, it carries it out. So this is how the three doers are. So we think we are the doers. We will be very proud. No, actually the super soul is sanctioning, and material nature carries it out. So one who understands that he is not the material body as senses is not connected with their satisfaction. He appreciates that he has no direct control over material phenomenon, so attached to them is useless. So he is busy serving the Lord in blissful Krishna consciousness to take to mundane sense gratification. Now, how we surrender to super soul? Devotionally, he fixes his consciousness, mind, intelligence, faith, and refuge on super soul, and thus one get fully cleansed of misgiving through complete knowledge, attaining liberation. So one has to work. One in knowledge should see the body and not the self as the performer, right? So he sees the body, not the self. So soul is placed within the body of the 9 gates. These are 9 gates: 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, mouth, anus, and genitals. The soul has a choice. We can desire positive things or negative things. We have a minute independence. Although subjecting oneself to the condition of the body, one can be beyond those conditions if he desires so. Forgetfulness of a superior nature and identifying with material nature, that's the cause of our suffering. Why are we suffering? Because we are forgetting Krishna. Once you remember Krishna, you come to Krishna consciousness, this Anandambudivardhana, this happiness. So revival of one's real position by Krishna consciousness, that's the solution for the suffering soul. Then it says, when the living entity identifies with the Lord within himself, he becomes free as the Lord, even while in the body. That's called liberated soul. Therefore, Krishna conscious person is free from both outer and inner activities of the material body. So there are 3 doers, as Prabhu said. It's the soul who desires it, and the super soul sanctions it, and the material nature carries it out. These are the 3 doers. Na kartvatvam na karmani lakshase shrujati prabhu na karma phala samyogam swabhavastu pravartate. The embodied spirit, master of the city of his mind, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature. So the material nature, the 3 modes, is the one who's carrying it out. So there is the living entity, who's the superior energy of the Lord compared to matter, and matter is inferior energy, right? So ignorance is the cause of our suffering. We are in ignorance. We don't know that Krishna is the supreme personality of God, that we should do devotional service. That's why we are suffering. So identifying oneself with the body, and that's the cause of our ignorance and suffering, and the conditioned soul suffers due to ignorance. The soul is neither the proprietor nor the controller of action and reaction of the body. He simply becomes tossed in the waves of material ocean in the struggle of So best solution is to get out of the water off by transcendental Krishna consciousness. Na tatte kasyachit papam na chaivam sukritam vipo ajnane navritam jnanam tena muhyanti jantava. Nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers their real knowledge. So one in knowledge sees material nature as being Lord Krishna's control, and thus the Lord is the ultimate performer and cause of all chaos. Actually, the material nature, the Prakriti, is also Krishna's energy. No, Mami, he says, Devi Hesha Gunamai Mama Maya. Okay, so Lord is Vibhu, and we, the living entity Anu, is atomic, very small. So since material nature works under the Supreme Lord, he is the ultimate performer and cause of all action. It's actually Krishna who's controlling everything. We are not able to see. Thus, is the Lord responsible for good and bad things in the material world? No, the Lord sanctions the desire. So actually, we are the desiring. We have minute independency by the living entity. So Krishna is just sanctioning and witnessing. And it's the soul who initiates the desire. Therefore, the living entity is responsible for good and bad. So you're giving a minute independence. Now you can decide, like your father give you 10 rupees. Now with the 10 rupees, you can buy a negative thing. Like you have some 1,000 rupees. With that, you buy a knife to kill people, or with that money, you can buy some fruits offered to Krishna or Bhagavad Gita. So it's up to you. No, so you using that independence. So you are desiring. So because of that, we are responsible for our good and bad reaction. Krishna is just a witness and he sanctions it. Right? Lord is neutral to everyone. Krishna says, Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshe nastina priya. Ye bhajanditu maam bhaktya mai te teshu chapiham. Right? So everyone he is equal for Krishna. But if somebody is worshipping Krishna, right, then he is very dear to Krishna. So why like that? Why Krishna is giving special care for the devotees? Ye bhajantu tumam bhaktya mai teshu teshu chapiham, Krishna says. Actually, he says he's not partial to anyone. No. Krishna takes care of atheists and theists and demons and demigods and devotees, everyone equally, Krishna says. He's not partial. But then he says devotees are special. Why? Ms. Kripa Mataji.
Because the devotees are giving their major time to in chanting, preaching, listening about the Lord, and giving their time to in serving the Lord. So obviously he will notice of that.
Yes, so that's one thing, that devotees are completely in Krishna consciousness, or they devote their time and they serve Krishna in a nice way. So that Krishna has to take special care. So example given is, there are two children, okay? Like you have a younger child and a bigger one. So the bigger one is independent. Yeah. So bigger one is independent. Like we are traveling somewhere and he or she packs her things and she's independent, like in 10th standard or something, and taking care of everything. But there's a smaller one, younger one in at house, might be 2-3 years old, and that baby is like completely dependent on you and calls, mama, do this, I want that, I want this. Because he or she is not independent. She's completely dependent on you. If she want to drink a glass of water, she can't take it. You have to go and give, or everything. But the elder one, she knows where the food is. She takes care of. So who's you like both of them, because both of them are children. Definitely, you as a parent, you like both of them. It's equal. But your care and attention will go to the younger one more. Why? Because the younger one keeps calling you mama. And when you are going through if you're going to a flight and we're going through a check-in, then the elder one will just go. But then the younger one, you have to carry and then go, or something like that. So because a devotee is completely, as Mataji said, completely dependent on Krishna, always calling out Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna has to take care of the devotee. It doesn't mean Krishna is partial to the devotees. No. Yes, Aham Bhakta Paradina, Krishna says, my devotees are my best, or I love them so much. But Krishna is not actually partial. Krishna likes everyone. But the devotees as Mataji said, devote their time and serve Krishna so much that Krishna reciprocates the same way. Right? So he's not partial in that way. So Lord is neutral to everyone. However, when one desire Krishna, the Lord takes special care and encourage one desire in such a way that one attain him and be eternally happy. So there is a lot of difference between the soul and the super soul. Yeah, Krishna wants to elevate his devotee. Yes, Purnima Mataji. So he always says that Mad Bhaktya Pujya Bhi Adhikam. My devotees should be worshipped more than me. That's what Krishna says. And he shows by example, when Sudama came, he personally washed his feet with his tears. So Krishna takes care of his devotees in a special way. So that's true. And that's like a good father, should not he stop us doing wrong things? Yes, Amir Prabhu. So that's a nice question. As a Supreme Father, he should stop us from doing wrong things. Like a terrorist want to destroy a country, or somebody. some or a thief or a want to do something bad. Now Krishna sanctions that also, because without Krishna sanction, even a blade of grass doesn't move. But why does Krishna sanction negative things in life? I'll unmute everyone. You can tell why Krishna is sanctioning negative things like theft and rape and murder and terrorism and all that. Why? Yes, Rajat Prabhu.
Because Mataji, the soul desires it, that he has given the independence to the soul.
Yes.
So if your previous karmas or everything are you are got that desire to be fulfilled, he sanctions it. So
yes.
it is up to our what is our previous balances and all those things based on that and our desires.
Yes, so that is one reason that yes, because of our desire, right? We desires and Krishna as a sweet father sanctions it. Okay, and he is just a witness. So we misused our minute independence. That is one thing. Second thing is we are so adamant that just imagine there's a child at home and he or she wants to play with the knife or a fire. Then how much ever you try to say that, see, it's not good, you cut your hand with that, or you get burned playing with that. But the child is so adamant, he or she is not eating and not studying and not sleeping, and so much tantrums and falling on the ground and hitting on the wall and whatnot. All these attention deficiency syndrome they have. They want attention from the elders. So they do all these kind of things. And what will you do? Finally, you're so tired with them, you're like, chalo, play with it. So much you are, sometimes it happens now, these kids keep on complaining or nagging you, and then finally you're like, chalo, do it. Or they want a beautiful dress or something, which is not good for them, in the sense something, not dress, something else, which is like dangerous for them, and you tell them not to do. They're so adamant, they want it. And what as a father or mother you'll do is, you play with it, you get the hand cut, or you get your hand burned, then you learn a lesson. Never in your life will you touch a knife anymore. No, that's kind of a teaching the child through experience. If you're really intelligent, you should hear and then stop doing. And another intelligent child in the house will say, oh, my father said that I should not touch fire. It burns. So if he's intelligent, just by hearing, he will learn. But some are so dumb. They're not intelligent. What they'll do, they want to experience it. So what will you say? As a sweet father, go experience and then learn from the mistake so that never you repeat it. So similarly, Krishna allows even negative things to happen. First of all, we desired and we misused our independence because we had so much desire, so adamant, that Krishna is like, okay, do it and learn from the mistake. And as Prabhu said, yes, karma coming, some sinful activities coming from previous life, all that also plays a role. So compare the soul and super soul. We are also eternal, Sachidananda. Super soul as Krishna is also eternal. And we are blissful, but suffers when covered by Maya. Like an iron rod is naturally attracted to magnet, but when it is covered by rust, then it cannot be attracted. So, right? So we are blissful, but we suffers because of Maya. We forget Krishna. Super soul is blissful and above the three modes, transcendental. And the soul is cognizant of his body, super soul cognizant of all bodies. And we are Anu, atomic, and super soul is Vibhu, omniscient. And the soul has minute independence, desire, but is dependent upon super soul to fulfill, and super soul is completely independent. Swarat. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So these are the connection, as Prabhu was saying. The soul desires. So just imagine, have this picture in your mind, make a note of it. Soul desires. Okay, soul is the one who desires. The super soul sanctions it, negative or positive, he sanctions. But the Krishna doesn't sanction all your desire. All of us want to become rich, multimillionaire. The whole world want to become multimillionaire. Krishna is sanctioning it? No. Based on your pious activities. Do you deserve? Before desiring something, we should see whether I deserve it. And that's what is important. And then only Krishna, or deserve in the sense, did you do so much sukritis or punya to get that? No, like that. So then only Krishna sanctions. So soul desires, super soul sanctions, and the three modes of material nature, sattva, rajas, tamaguna, fulfills it or carries it out. So this is the relationship between the soul, super soul, and material modes of nature. These are the three doers. Okay. So the soul desires, super soul sanctions, and modes of material nature fulfills. The super soul as sanctioner is not responsible for actions, but the soul, the living entity, initiates the desire, and modes of material nature are the agents of the Lord in fulfilling the desire of the living entity. Benefit of this understanding is it leads to a state of perfect knowledge and one achieves happiness and real peace. So why Maya Devi is disturbing us, or Maya Devi does not want weak-minded devotees to disturb the Lord Krishna. That's why she tests. Yes, that's why she tests. So why Maya Devi is testing? That's because she's not actually, she want to test whether we are sincere. She don't want any not unsincere souls to go to Krishna. She's actually good. Once Prabhupada was initiating, giving initiation and a big temple, so all were getting the initiation names. And the Prabhupada announced one Mataji's name, Mahamaya Devi Dasi. And everybody is like, Mahamaya. Everyone like kind of scared and some were laughing and all that. And Prabhupada looked at them and said, Maya is not so bad. She's Krishna's energy. After all, she's Krishna's energy. And Maya is actually making you go close to Krishna. The more you turn away from Krishna, Maya slaps you so that you go to Krishna. And Maya is not dragging you. Your Krishna consciousness is not strong. That's why you're going to Maya. Like imagine if Srila, like a nice, if your devotee is there, like Srila Prabhupada, and some movie is going on or some match is going on, he don't even turn towards the TV. I mean, most of you would have experienced now. Before, when you know some movie is releasing, the first show, first ticket you want, and then you go. But now, even if the movie is released, you are not bothered. You have some higher things to do. Some of you have experienced that. You started getting virakti or detachment. So Maya is not strong there. Right? Maya is becoming weak because your Krishna consciousness is strong. So Maya is actually good. She is actually making us remember Krishna. And the more we forget Krishna, she hits us. Okay, so but Yoga Maya, the same Maya Devi becomes Yoga Maya. So the super soul is the sanctioner. He is not responsible for any action. The soul, the living entity, desires, and the modes of material nature fulfill the desire. Okay, so that's why the three doers. Jnaneno tad atnyanam yesham nashidam atmanaha tesham aditya vajnanam prakashyayati tatparam. When however one is enlightened with the knowledge by which nascence is destroyed, then his knowledge reveals everything as the sun lights up everything in the daytime. So when the knowledge comes, then all the ignorance, nascence means ignorance, will be destroyed. That's why Krishna is called as Surya. Krishna Surya Sama Maya Hoy Andakar. Yaha Krishna Tahani Mayara Adhikar. Krishna is like Surya or sunlight, and Maya is like darkness. Wherever there is sunlight, there is no darkness. So transcendental knowledge is achieved when one surrenders to Krishna, just as the sun lights up everything in daytime. They said, Tesham evanu kampartam aham ajnanacham tamaha nashayami atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhashvata. So Krishna will light us or enlighten us with knowledge. To know that we are not the body but spirit soul, that's a perfect knowledge. And to know that we can never become God, but eternally different from God. Now that is the perfection of knowledge. And bewilderment is to identify oneself with matter, to think oneself as God. That is also ignorance. And why we need a spiritual master? To get real knowledge, that is Krishna consciousness. And such a bona fide spiritual master never claimed that he is God. And although he is paid the respect ordinarily paid to God, because he has knowledge of the God. Sakshat Haritvena Samasta Shastri. So this is Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela saying, Krishna Surya Sama Maya Haya Antakar. Yaha Krishna Taha Nahi Maya Ra Adhikar. Krishna is like, the Lord is like effulgent sun. And whenever there is Supreme Personality present, there cannot be darkness or ignorance. Actually, this dark universe is illuminated by the sun. But the sun and moon are the bodily effulgence of the Lord. They are the eyes of the Lord. So we'll see the practical application is one who takes shelter of the super soul in full knowledge, become impartial in material transaction and find quick path to liberation. Okay. So we understood the relationship between soul, super soul, and three modes. The soul desires, super soul sanctions, and the three modes of material nature carries it out. So this knowledge will remove the ignorance that we know we are not the doer. When ignorance is removed, the living entity takes shelter of the super soul, attains perfection. Like a child want to sit in the motorbike of the father, and the child can't even hold the bike, but still he or she thinks that he is driving. No, but the father is actually driving. We are just an instrument. No, we should know that, so that pride won't come on us. Tad buddhayas tad atmanas tanishtas tad parayanaha gachandi apunar avritam jnana nirdhuta kalmashaha When one's intelligence, mind, faith, and refuge are all fixed in the Supreme, then one become fully cleansed of misgivings through complete knowledge, and thus proceed straight on the path of liberation. So complete knowledge is required. Jnana and Vairagya are the two byproducts of Bhakti. So Supreme is used here. That means the whole Bhagavad Gita centers around declaring that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So can you give some slokas from Bhagavad Gita which says Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? I can unmute everyone. Remember any sloka? Just the beginning of the sloka is also good. You don't remember the whole sloka. Which says
Aham sarvasya prabhava matta sarva pravartate.
Yes, very good.
Bhajate mam udabhava samanvita.
Okay, so that is one. Aham sarvasya prabho 10.8, which says Krishna is the source of everything. Yes, Danya Mataji?
5.29 Mataji Bhaktaram
Good.
Yajnatam Sarvalokamaheeshwaram Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Jnatva Mam Shantim Gacchati.
Very nice. Yes, so Krishna, that's a peace formula. Krishna is the supreme controller, he's the supreme enjoyer, and our only well-wishing friend. And any other sloka?
Param Brahma, Param
Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham, Shashvatam, Divyamadi Devam Ajam, Bogu 10.12. Good. Yes, Prabhu?
Natat paratara anyat.
Matta Paradaram
Matta parataram anyat.
Injidasti Dhananjaya, Mai Sarvamidam Protam, Sutre Manigana. Okay, 7.7. Yeah, 7th chapter. So good. And what else?
Aham adiri devanam.
Aham Adir Hi Devanam. He is the source of all demigods. Very nice. Yes.
Ishwara Sarvabhutanam Hrideshe Arjuna Tishtati.
Yeah, Krishna says that he is a super soul in everyone. What about Aham Bija Pradapita? Krishna says he is the seed giving father. Sarvayoni Shikaunteya, right? He is the seed giving father. So that's also one way to understand. Prajesh Prabhu, can you contact Pravina Mataji for the attendance link? Because Mataji is traveling. Or if you know Shraddha Mataji's number, even she can give you. She was going to a hospital or something. Just try to get. I didn't get it yet. Okay. So yes, Krishna is the supreme. And as Prabhu said, Matta Paradam Naniyat. Krishna says there's nobody above him or equal to him. Matta Paradaram Nan Anyat. Okay. Nobody is equal to him or above him. The whole Bhagavad Gita centers around declaration that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Paratattva means the supreme reality, who's understood by knowers of the supreme as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So there are three stages of understanding the Lord. One is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Brahmedi, Paramatmedi, Bhagavanedi, Shabdete. How a Krishna conscious person proceeds steadily on the path of liberation by fixing one's mind, intelligence, faith, and refuge in Krishna. One achieves perfect knowledge in everything by concerning transcendence. Thus, one achieves through understanding that there is duality in Krishna. That is simultaneously oneness and difference. Achintya Beda Beda Tattva. So this is a nice sloka to memorize. Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmane Kavi Hastini Shuni Chaiva Swapakecha Pandita Samadarshina. The humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, elephant, dog, and a dog eater. Okay. So this is a breakout room discussion. We'll come to it. So I'll come to the discussion after it. So we'll go to the breakout room. Okay, all are ready. Discuss with examples from Srila Prabhupada's life, how he demonstrated the principles described in 5.18. You should give some examples how Prabhupada saw everyone equally, Samadarshina, and how was Prabhupada a Pandit, Vidya Vinay Sampanne, how he was so much of knowledge, he was like a Pandita, and he's seeing everyone as Samadarshina. Okay, Brahmana, Gavi, Hastini, Shuni, Chaiva, Swapakecha. How so? Some kind of a life story or from past times of Srila Prabhupada's life. Okay, so those who knows can share in the breakout room. Those who don't know, okay, please listen from your other devotees about the past times of Srila Prabhupada. Okay, and then we'll come back. Okay, so all the rooms are closed. So can someone explain from room number 1? Who was there? Yes. Danya Mataji, Purnima Mataji, Minal Mataji, Prajesh Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. You can tell. You can unmute, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yes, Mataji. So according to the purport of to 5.18, like we can get to know that devotee of Lord Krishna is like Uttamadhikar, in the sense like he sees everyone equal, like if it's a Vaishnava or a cow or elephant or dog or a dog eater. So it's like we can understand from Srila Prabhupada's life, like how he not only like initially preached in India, but also he went to the Western countries.
Yes. Yes.
So he went to the Western country to preach about Lord Krishna. He did not discriminate between like whether they are meat eaters or like drunkards or like hippies or anything. He preached the message to them also. And also, if we see like in Prabhupada Lilamrita, like I've heard that the starting few days of his preaching in the small temple like set up in America, like many people were there who used to like they should randomly come sit. If they're interested, they'll sit. Otherwise, they'll get up, they'll go, they'll smoke outside, they'll come back inside. They'll ask like some random questions which are not sensible also. But Srila Prabhupada used to like be merciful on them, and like he used to patiently try to explain to them like how much ever they can understand. Like he used to try his best to explain to them. And also like because of this friendly nature of Srila Prabhupada and the way he preached to them, like not like forcing them to take Krishna consciousness, but giving them reasons like why they need to take Krishna consciousness, like many of them were able to take
Okay, nice. So how any other example?
Yes, Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji, I've heard in Bhagavatam class through Namanishta Das Prabhuji. Once there was a devotee. He was not initially, he was not devotee. He was drunkard man. Used to come at the temple, and other devotees was telling Prabhupada, we will not allow him. He is full of smell and dirty and all. Prabhupada said, no, let him be that way. Then once what happened, one day book distribution was there. So all were had prasadam and all, and that that man was there. So other devotee took Prabhupada said him, said them, ki, take this devotee, give him a bath and all clean him properly. And after that prasadam, all were ready, but all were like little lazy because of the prasadam. They had good prasadam and all. But that person, he was the first one who got off the bus and sold all the books. So sold all the books and came back again within a few minutes. So devotees were saying, ki, was it? How it's possible? How you did this and all? And all were doubting. But he was with money and all. He had money also. And just Prabhupada, when someone asked, what did you say while distributing books? So he just gave his example how merciful the Prabhupada, how was the mercy of Prabhupada was such ki I delivered. I'm the one. I'm the example, real example of mercy of Prabhupada. And some devotees gave him name also, nickname.
What was the nickname?
I forgot, Mataji. That name was good.
I think Crazy Peter.
Something like this. Yes.
Yeah, he was great, Crazy Peter. Yeah, in Prabhupada. Okay, nice example. Okay, so from room number 2, Lipsa Mataji, Prasad Prabhu, Rajat Prabhu, Lakshmi Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu.
I'll tell them. Mataji, first is that he did not differentiate once he went to America. Whoever came under his shelter, he took them. In fact, all the devotees are flouting all the 4 regulative principles. But he was not looking for absolutely pure devotees. He accepted everybody. He did not distinguish between any of his male and female disciples also. He gave them equal love, affection, and in fact, he initiated all the females, and even for Vigraha Puja, he allowed the females to do it. Third, Mataji, is that when he came to India with his disciples at Jagannath, he was refused entry. He did not fight or go against them. He just said, we will start our own Rath Yatra, and today Rath Yatra has become so famous of ISKCON.
Correct.
One
Good,
thing we
good.
did discuss, I just remembered, when he was buying, I think, the land of Mumbai, that time he had to go through a lot of this thing. The temple was tried to be destroyed and everything. And I think the person who was in the land, he died, but he was very merciful to the wife of that person, and he took her under his shelter, and said she was ready. She understood that there was a problem with her husband, the way he was, and then he didn't do anything. So even those who were doing harm to him, he never did anything bad to them, and always try to explain them Krishna consciousness or the Krishna way of doing things, so that they would adapt and adopt it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, that's okay, sir. What about room number 3? Dilnath Prabhu, Kripa Mataji, Samir Prabhu.
Actually, Matabu, one point was the same one which Prabhu said, that he had given equal rights to females and males. There are a lot of ladies who are actually doing puja overseas, and initiations were done. So he never thought of the two differently. Secondly, once again, even hippies were given the same rights. Even today, there's no differentiation between a female, male, or a person who's a hippie or a non-hippie. All rights were given equally, because the Lord loves everyone equally. Samir Prabhu had given an example. Samir Prabhu, please give that example, because I might not be able to explain it that well.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, during one of his morning walk, japa walks, Prabhupada ji was going through with his devotees, and the devotees saw one mansion, like a beautiful house, and they said, Prabhupada, look at that's a beautiful house there. And Prabhupada said, okay, for Krishna consciousness, we'll have one kind of a house like that. So devotees were happy, and he chanted, and they kept moving ahead. And after some place, they found one more. There was a vehicle, car was there, wonderful car. And the devotee said, Prabhupada, look that's a very wonderful car. He said, okay, for Krishna consciousness, we'll have one of the good cars like that. And they moved ahead. And as they moved ahead, they saw one of person, he was with a dog. And then the devotee said, oh, Lord, Prabhupada, look at that's there's a dog there. And Prabhupada said, yes, one time we'll have also the dog chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Yeah, this was a very funny incident, but if you see about deeper meaning, Prabhupada always during his kirtan in the garden, he used to say that I'm doing kirtan not only for all of you, but I'm doing it for all the insects and these trees and all these things. So he was so merciful to everyone, and that's why he said, I'm not making this temple and I'm not making all these things it's all for you only. This is the temples that we are going, and the Nam Sankirtan which you're going, I'm going to do it for all of you, because you all are Krishna's devotees. You must follow Harinam Sankirtan, and you must spread this name to all over the world, so that everyone becomes Krishna conscious. And that is why we are born as Krishna conscious. The human form is for Krishna consciousness and nothing else. That is what Prabhupada said, and that is what his mercy, and that's why we are in ISKCON.
Hare Hare Krishna, Guru Srila Prabhupada. Yes, Prabhu. So that's so nice. And this is actually the mercy coming from Haridas Thakur. Because when you said this, I remember the incident when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Haridas Thakur, how will these plants and animals and insects get delivered? Okay, we humans, we can do devotional service and go back. But what about these trees and insects and dogs and plants? Then Haridas Thakur says, Sakala Jagata Hoya Ucha Sankirtan Shuniya Premaveshe Nache Stavara Jangaman. Sakala Jagat Hoya Ucha Sankirtan. When there is loud chanting all over the world, then what happens? Shuniya Premaveshe Nache Stavara Jangaman. All the moving and non-moving, the trees, the plants, everyone, insects, dogs, they all can hear the Harinam and can get liberated. So this is one of the way what Prabhupada says, even if nobody comes for the class, nobody comes for so that you can preach to the four walls. At least the insects and mosquitoes, everybody can hear, because it's transcendental vibration. What we, even while chanting, chant loudly so that all the insects around you can get delivered in the sense they won't get moksha, they get a chance to become humans, devotees next life. So that's like you are you, because of you, they get a chance. So that's why you should chant more. And then when you're chanting in the garden, you can chant more. So many plants are around. So this Hare Krishna Mahamantra is magic. And also Prabhupada have showed it by practical example. There's so many pastimes in Prabhupada's life saying that, yes, one of the reason why he went to America is that so much compassionate and he saw everyone equal, everyone. Last week, Atul Krishna Prabhu was saying in the lecture that they belong to the lowest class of people. They belong to the Mlechas and Yavanas from foreign country. And Prabhu says that they don't even belong to the four Varnashram system. They don't even belong to the Shudra class. They are lower than that. That means human beings are supposed to be in the Varnashram. And he says that they are lower than that. But Prabhupada elevated them, gave them Brahmanic threads and made them Brahmanas. Just imagine the foreigners with Brahman thread chanting Gayatri and the Hare Krishna mantra and doing deity worship. So who did all this? Now that's Prabhupada's immense mercy and how he take care of everyone. The Food for Life, ISKCON Food for Life, ISKCON distributing khichdi, so many places. Why? Because he want everyone, he see everyone equally. No, he never differentiate with anyone. And Prabhupada was so humble, and he himself, he practiced what he preached. So that's a great devotee. So we are so fortunate to come under his shelter. We don't, those who read Leelamrita knows how great Prabhupada is. All of you should definitely read Leelamrita at least once. There's a synopsis also version by Satswarup Das Goswami, his disciple. This one volume also is available, one small book called Prabhupada. You can read them. Okay, any questions or can we end here? Prabhu, you got it? The attendance form? No? I'll take a screenshot, might be, so that
yes,
it works.
I got it like when we were in the breakout room.
Oh, then you just post it so that all of them can you post it to everyone?
Yes, Mataji, just one.
Sorry for the delay. Actually, Samira Mataji was traveling and so that's why I was just waiting.
Ishwari Mataji, Hare Krishna. Mataji,
Yes.
Mataji, yesterday I had submitted the open assessment. I even spoke to Praveena Mataji about it. I could not do it from my phone, so I submitted it from my husband's phone, which is a different email address.
That's okay. Your name is there, no?
My name is there in it, Mataji, but I'm not sure if you've received it because it showed as submitted, but it did not show in the email address as, in the email account as received. So I'm just hoping it's come through to you. That's all.
I'll check. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, Minal Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Actually, I've written this answer open book assessment. Is it okay if I post it tonight, turn it tonight?
Yes. I have kept it open for 2 more days. I'll keep it open because some devotees were traveling. They asked. Okay. You send it today. Yes, Samir Prabhu. Oh, where is attendance form, Prabhu? Did you post it? I can't get. I didn't see.
Once again, Mataji, I'm pasting.
Yeah. Take your time. Yes, Samir Prabhu, you had a question. Where is he? Okay. Yeah, so that's the form. Please send, fill the form. And I hope sadhana chart is also shared. Please, some Samira Mataji is sharing the sadhana form, na? Who is making it? Samir Prabhu is making? Sumit, who made the sadhana chart? Please